The scene shifts to inside the bus. Our boy is deep in thought about the city he's headed to. He once served in the military there and swore he would never come back to this place. Then Batten comes along and offers Kang some eggs, but our boy declines the offer. He wonders to himself, do people really eat raw eggs nowadays? Batten then asks Saki if she wants an egg, but she also declines. She takes a quick peek at our boy, and their gazes meet. Saki blushes, and our boy wonders why he always feels like he's being watched. After a while, they arrive at their destination, and Chloe comments that the weather is perfect. Baton, curious, asks our boy why he's carrying so much luggage. Seeing his curiosity, our boy reveals a bag full of sashimi knives. Baton is surprised and asks if he came here just to sell knives. Our boy says it's better to be safe than sorry. Baton teases that our boy talks like an old man, but admits that he must have his reasons. Everyone starts walking toward the dungeon gate. They encounter two security guards standing outside. One of the guards, upon seeing the group, asks if they're from the academy and tells them to write their names in the logbook. As our boy finishes writing his name, the guard's expression changes, but our boy ignores it and walks in with the others. Baton reminds everyone to watch their step. Our boy wonders why the guard was acting so suspicious, but hopes everything will be fine. As they go deeper into the cave, our boy notices some lovers' scribbles on the wall, and he hopes they break up. Suddenly, Saki grabs Kang's hand, telling him she's tired, and asks if he has anything sweet. Our boy checks his pocket and shows her a candy. Saki looks disappointed and asks if he has any chocolate. Kang replies that he's not her mom and tells her to eat the damn thing. Then Chloe alerts the group that 4 monsters are approaching from 200 meters away. Baton quickly instructs everyone to stick to the plan, assuring them the monsters won't pose any real danger. He tells Chloe and Saki to get ready for battle while he prepares some buffs. Saki pulls out her S-rank weapon, the Crimson Bow. Seeing this, Kang feels confident the dungeon clear will be a cakewalk. However, Saki mentions something feels off about her weapon, wondering if it's just been too long since she last used it. Then, casually, Saki pulls out her chocolate and starts eating it, saying it's good. Our boy takes back what he said. He's getting trust issues now. Meanwhile, as the monsters close in, both Chloe and Saki charge forward. Baton buffs them with his weapon. Chloe leaps into the air, wielding dual crossbows, and shoots out the eye of a monster. 3 more monsters rush in, and Chloe reaches for her blade to strike them, but Batten yells for her to fall back according to their plan. At that moment, Saki draws her bow and launches 3 arrows, each one blasting a monster's head. Saki smirks and says they're too weak. Our boy wonders what would happen if they broke the monster's horns, but acknowledges that having a skilled DPS like Saki is a huge plus. As they move deeper into the cave, a bull monster unexpectedly charges toward Saki. She recognizes it as the one Chloe fought earlier and feels annoyed to face it again. Saki gets distracted, slips, and braces for impact, but our boy rushes in and slices the monster down with a single strike of his sashimi knife. Saki is mesmerized by his quick action. Our boy asks Saki if she's all right, and she blushes. Damn, the Riz Lord strikes again. The scene shifts outside, where the guard from before says he is ready. Then we see our boy grab the horns of the bull monster. Kang says the reason he came to this dungeon is for buffalo, so he decides to take as much as he can carry. As Kang begins collecting them, Saki approaches him and hands him chocolate as a token of gratitude for saving her earlier. Meanwhile, Kang senses Chloe going yandere again. Noticing this, our boy turns around, calls out to Chloe, and tells her about the guard from earlier. As both of them are discussing it, Batten chimes in, asking if the two of them are dating. Hearing this, Chloe immediately starts blushing, but before she can get her hopes up, our boy tells Batten that assuming all male-female relationships are romantic is narrow-minded. Batten says he thought that because the two of them always stick together. Meanwhile, Chloe is staring at Kang with disappointment. Then Chloe asks why there are so few mobs and why the cave feels empty. Batten comments that no matter how popular a dungeon is, it wouldn't be this empty. He then asks Saki for her thoughts on the situation. Saki says those buffaloes seemed off and adds that it looked as if they were running away from something. Since buffaloes don't typically behave that way, it doesn't make sense. Baton agrees, pointing out that buffaloes are usually docile and locals even use them for farming. Hearing this, Kang is surprised and wonders what's wrong with these people for using demonic buffaloes for farming. Kang then asks how Batten and Saki know each other. Saki proudly says that she topped the written exam while Batten came in second. She further adds that Batten bragged about it for weeks. Frustrated, Batten tells Saki to stop talking nonsense, but Saki ignores him and continues, telling Kang that she also ranked third in the placement tests. Hearing this, our boy is surprised that Batten ranked second. He had assumed Batten was just a loudmouth. Batten responds, telling him not to compare him with Rachel, since Rachel is his cousin. Hearing that, our boy is even more surprised, finally realizing why, as a player, he didn't know about Batten's connection to the main characters. Batten further explains that he's just from a branch family, while Rachel's family belongs to the main line. That's why there's a distinction between them. However, Batten says, let's not talk about that, and tells Kang he's the real deal here, telling him not to forget him when he becomes famous. Kang says he won't, and Batten mentions that Kang might even join the 7 heroes in the future. But then Saki, stepping ahead of them, suddenly turns to the group and says she hates the 7 heroes. Baton replies, asking what her problem is. He then tells everyone to move forward, saying they need to finish the dungeon quickly. As they move in, Kang notices some crystals on the dungeon floor, but before he can inspect them further, Batten urges him to keep moving. The scene shifts to the outside where a guard is talking on the phone. The instructor tells him not to get cocky and that if he fails, he'll be held responsible. The guard replies that he understands and says they're dead either way. Just in case, he forced the gate open, meaning there's no chance of surviving. Yet something about Kang unsettles him. Those eyes, it's as if he sees through everything. The guard decides to go in to check things out himself. The scene shifts back inside the dungeon. Chloe turns to Kang and informs him that she can sense magical beasts approaching from behind. Kang asks how many. Chloe says roughly 50 beasts. The entire group is stunned upon hearing this. At that very moment, Kang and the others suddenly sense something rushing toward them from the opposite side of the dungeon. When they turn to look, they see a massive horde of buffalo stampeding straight toward them. Baton says none of this makes sense. He's never seen a swarm like this before. The buffalo are charging at full speed toward them, and still in shock, Batten turns to Kang and reminds him, didn't he say these buffalo were harmless? At that moment, Kang recalls a memory from his past life when his master once told him that every blade has its purpose, just as a sashimi knife is meant for handling fish. Our boy had asked about beef and whether it could be used for that. As his master raised his hand, our boy got scared and apologized, but then he saw the fish had been sliced like butter with the sashimi knife. His master then said, that's also true. Returning to the present, Kang has an idea. He tells Chloe to distract the herd of buffalo, warning her not to charge straight in. Instead, she should move left and right to disrupt their formation. He says she doesn't need to attack. Her only task is to draw the buffalo's attention. Chloe nods. Kang then turns to Batten and asks if he's ready. Batten replies, I was born ready. Meanwhile, Saki struggles to understand why Kang remains so calm. Kang then gives her instructions, telling her to hold the front and stop anything that gets too close. Saki agrees. She then turns to Batten and asks why Kang seems so composed. Batten tells her not to be surprised. However, Saki remains confused, unable to understand what Kang is planning. Then our boy takes out all the knives and Bro makes a Wolverine pose, and he activates the blessing of the sword god. As one of the buffalo charges toward him, he throws a bunch of knives at them. Meanwhile, Saki remains in shock, still unable to process how Kang plans to handle all those buffalo alone. In the next scene, Saki can't believe what she's seeing. Our boy has defeated all of the buffalo monsters and is now standing on top of their corpses like the Doomslayer. Meanwhile, Chloe, using her blessing, takes down 3 buffalo monsters with a single strike, and our boy charges forward with his godspeed, slicing down all buffalo monsters in his path. But suddenly, a group of buffalo monsters charges at Kang and slams their bodies into him. Saki tries to shoot an arrow to help, but there are too many of them. Then suddenly, she sees our boy bursting out using his dual blades, and Saki is stunned to see him walk away from that chaos. Later, our boy collects the horns of the buffalo monsters. Thanks to the painless blessing, he was able to take down 50 buffalo. Chloe approaches Kang and says he rocked today. Kang pats Chloe's head and tells her she did a nice job as well. Meanwhile, Seeing Saki's expression, Batten teases her, reminding her that he told her not to be surprised. Frustrated, Saki says it was impossible not to freak out over what had just happened. Batten says Kang always finds a way to shock them. Saki starts to wonder, who is he really? Batten admits he has no idea either. As they move forward, Batten informs Kang that the dungeon's clear condition was 20 buffalo, but Kang had soloed twice that number just to show off. Kang says he hadn't done much during midterms anyway. Suddenly, Chloe says it's too quiet around them. Saki, looking ahead, sees a pillar-like structure, and then suddenly the gate's chains begin to break. The group is shocked to see a gate before them, and Kong recognizes the place instantly. The scene shifts to a security guard who had entered the dungeon to check on Kong and his party, but the guard is shocked to see that Kong's party had managed to defeat all the buffalo monsters. As he observes them, he thinks back to a few days prior. A woman had approached him, claiming to be an instructor from the academy. She offered to clear his debts if he did one thing for her. The guard asks how. She tells him to tame the buffalo monsters, then use a demon stone to send them into a frenzy and release them when Kang showed up with his party. She also ordered him to open the dungeon gate. The guard hesitated, concerned that the students might not make it out alive, but tempted, he eventually agrees to help her, and she says she'll call him later. After she leaves, the guard thinks about all the money and how he'll gamble with it again. In the present, the guard is pissed that Kang's party is still alive and hopes they die when the stone gate opens. The scene shifts back to our boy and his party, standing before the open gate. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Kang thinks it's no wonder everything had seemed so easy. They had walked right into a trap. The guard's glare had felt off to him earlier, and now Kang is frustrated that he hadn't trusted his instincts. The stone gate of this dungeon only opened with the giant demon stone, a mid-game quest item. The fragments Kang had seen earlier were pieces of the mana stone, and he hadn't expected the stone gate to be left open. Kang considers that if everything goes according to the game, there should be a reward, but surviving comes first. Kang can sense the presence of the boss monster. As he stares at the gate, he notices a single red line carved into the supposedly indestructible stone. He realizes that he's already used up all 40 seconds of the painless blessing, but his knife should be able to hold out a little longer. His plan is to go through the gate and get out before it shatters completely. Suddenly, the stone gate begins to open wider. Kang and the others stand frozen. Then, a massive creature emerges. Baton questions if the monster before them is a buffalo. Kang couldn't believe it either. The boss monster had broken through the stone gate. It was an A-rank demon minotaur, also known as the Buffalo King, and the reward for defeating this dungeon's boss was the Blessing of Transition. The scene shifts inside the stone gate, where Kang's party now faces off against the boss monster and two more buffalo monsters guarding him in formation. Chloe is shocked to see that there are more monsters inside the stone gate, while our boy quickly assesses the situation, realizing they need to take them out before the boss awakens. Kang knows this is different from the midterm exam. If he could take down the mermaid with zero intel, he can handle a minotaur now, but his painless blessing has already run out. Those precious 40 seconds are gone. He grips his knife tightly and turns to Batten, asking if he can still use the pain-reducing blessing. Batten nods and says he can, but only for 2 minutes. Kang replies that it's enough, telling him to keep applying the blessing while he's fighting, because one slip-up could mean death. He then turns to Saki and Chloe, instructing them to handle the small fries because he's going straight for the big one. He warns them not to get involved with the boss monster, no matter what. Saki looks concerned, but Kang tells everyone to stick to the plan. As the buffalo monsters charge forward, our boy activates the blessing of the sword god, but suddenly Kang feels extreme pain throughout his entire body and starts vomiting blood. He can't move. That's when Batten steps in, activating his blessing. Thanks to him, Kang is able to stand again. The boss buffalo monster charges straight at him. Kang locks in and charges forward too. The monster swings its axe, and Kang narrowly dodges, but pain continues to rack his body with every movement. The boss swings again. Kang parries and moves behind him to strike, but the boss kicks him away. Kang barely manages to block the kick with his knife. Our boy realizes that unlike before, he can now feel everything, because the painless blessing. As the boss readies another strike, Kang gets in close, too close, but manages to dodge and move behind the boss again. The Minotaur slams his axe into the floor and smashes the floor. As the smoke clears, we see our boy casually sitting right on top of the blade. God damn, bro pulled Makiri counter from Sekiro. Meanwhile, Saki watches in absolute shock, witnessing Kang's insane skill in real real time. One of the buffalo monsters charges at her, but she dodges and shoots it right in the eye. As she fights, her thoughts drift to Kang, how he remains unshaken, even at death's door. He reminds her of the Sword Emperor. With one final shot, she blows up the buffalo monster's head. After defeating it, Saki remembers rumors she had heard, that the Sword Emperor once unleashed his aura against the special admission student. That same presence, she's starting to feel it from Kang. Meanwhile, our boy begins releasing his blessing aura. The boss buffalo monster charges at him again, this time aiming to land a punch. But Kang moves in and slices the monster's right arm clean off. The boss screams in agony. Baton continues to buff Kang from the backline, while Chloe finishes off the last of the buffalo monsters. Covered in blood, she reflects on her lack of experience, realizing that the closer a monster's form is to a human, the more dangerous it becomes. As she looks at the boss buffalo monster writhing in pain, it suddenly grabs its axe with its left hand and starts chanting magic. Saki is shocked. She didn't think monsters were capable of using magic, but on closer look, she realizes something terrifying. The boss is burning its own life force to generate mana. The magical pressure makes it nearly impossible to get close. Baton keeps pumping buffs into Kang, who's barely standing now, blood dripping from his mouth. The boss completes its spell and charges forward with full force, axe glowing with rage. And Kang, he moves forward, ready to strike head-on against the raging Buffalo King. Their weapons clash in a violent explosion of force as Kang and the boss monster face off. Kang quickly realizes that the monster's magic is way too dense. His sword alone won't be enough. But dodging isn't an option either. If he backs off, Chloe, Saki, and Baton will be in danger. The boss pushes forward, swinging its massive axe straight at him. From behind, Saki yells, telling him to slice it off. And in that moment, our boy goes beyond his limits, unleashing 100% of the sword god's blessing. The panel turns completely red as Kang tears through with sheer willpower. His knife cracks under the pressure as it starts to break the boss's axe. He pushes with everything he's got, and with a burst of blue aura, he slices the boss in two. Everyone stares in disbelief as the glowing light fades and Kang drops to his knees, and he says, "I cut it." And just like that, Saki falls a little harder for our boy. Meanwhile, Baton collapses from exhaustion, muttering that Kang defies common sense every single time he sees him fight. As he stares at the last flickers of that bright blue light, Baton reflects. It had illuminated the entire cave. Just then, Saki walks up and tells him to breathe. Baton, confused, asks what she means. Saki smiles and says she finally gets why he keeps following Kang around. Baton tries to play it off with a "when was I?" but Saki doesn't let it slide. She says the academy rules won't allow Kang to transfer into their class this year. Baton looks confused. "Did you hit your head or get possessed by a demon?" Saki grins, saying, "What about the other way around? There's no rule against that." She admits she's thinking about tagging along with Kang, too. Meanwhile, our boy is deep in thought, reflecting on the battle. Even with Baton's blessing, he barely made it out alive, but he did it, and fighting without the painlessness blessing was solid progress. Suddenly, Chloe runs toward him and hugs him tightly, asking if he's okay. Kang grunts that he's still hurt, and Chloe quickly jumps back, blushing. At that moment, a system window appears before Kang, revealing his new reward blessing. He immediately recognizes it. It's one that was meant for Leon in the original game, a spirit rank blessing, the rarest class in this world. It's called the Blessing of Transition, a one-of-a-kind ability that allows him to transfer one of his blessings to any living being or object. Kang knows this is huge. He's going to make the best use of it. Just then, the stone gate creaks open and someone enters. Kang turns to Chloe and reminds her of the favor he asked for earlier. Chloe nods. "I'm ready." The man who walks in is none other than the security guard from before, but before he can even react, Chloe rushes in, kicks him to the ground, and stabs his leg with her sword, telling him, "Stay still." Baton, shocked, asks what's happening. Kang replies calmly, "I asked Chloe to do me a favor." The guard curses in pain, demanding to know what the hell they're doing. Kang explains, "This guy is the reason the buffalo monsters went berserk, and why the stone gate opened out of nowhere." Saki adds adds that it's pretty suspicious there weren't any surveillance cameras in the dungeon, yet this guard just happened to show up right when everything ended. Saki steps closer and demands to know who's backing the guard. He tries to stay silent, but our boy steps in, intimidating him. Out of fear, the guard confesses. A few days ago, an academy instructor approached him, promising to clear his debts in exchange for releasing the monsters. Hearing this, Baton loses it. You sold out students for a few bucks? But guard says it was 20 billion. Baton is ready to throw hands, but Saki pulls him back and asks for details. What did the instructor look like? The guard says she was a tall woman with purple hair and eyes. Saki turns to Kong. Could it be their assistant instructor? Baton then asks if she was also behind the mermaid incident. Saki, wide-eyed, asks what that was about. Kong calmly replies, they ran into a demonoid mermaid during midterms. Kang ends the interrogation by stopping the phone recording. Chloe then pulls her blade from the guard's leg. Kang turns to her and says, you're the assassin here. It's your call. Chloe nods, activates her blessing, points her sword at the guard, and ends his life for good. As the group walks away, Kang thinks to himself, he'll end every last one of them when the time comes. The scene shifts to the forge, where Kang hands over the horn of the Minotaur boss to the blacksmith and asks him to enhance it. The blacksmith is completely shocked, seeing that Kang actually brought back an A-grade beast material. He immediately asks Kang how he managed to defeat the boss alone, but Kang brushes it off and says he did it with his team. He also hands over his beloved sashimi knife for repair. The blacksmith gets furious when he sees the state of the blade and asks him what the hell he did to wreck it like this. Kang simply stares him down with a menacing aura. Nervously smiling, the blacksmith tells him to take better care of his weapons. Kang reminds him of his promise and leaves it in his hands. As our boy turns to leave, the blacksmith curses Kang for making absurd requests every time. Suddenly, Kang turns back, surprising the blacksmith even more. He tells him to sell the leftover materials and buy a drink for yourself. Hearing this, the blacksmith is left confused. The scene then shifts to the classroom, where Kong reflects on his recovery. He had healed quite a lot and was feeling much better after the injuries. However, he knows he'll need to ask Baton once again for his healing blessing. Leaning back in his chair, Kang opens his status window, which now shows his assimilation rate has reached 12.7%. Unlike his other stats, this one doesn't increase so easily. He figures he'll have to clear another dungeon to raise it again, but he's glad that at least he didn't get any new gray hairs, and he thinks, if my hair turns white, I'll lose it all. Kang acknowledges that with enemies actively targeting him, he needs to stay fully prepared. He's come too far now to die a meaningless death. While thinking about his recovery, he notices a gift, something he received for forming his own party and successfully clearing a dungeon. Being targeted had now become a daily thing for our boy, but it wasn't all bad. He'd gained 2 classmates he could actually call friends, Baton and Chloe. Neither of them played a major role in the main story, and Kang isn't even sure if Chloe considers him a friend. Looking at the chocolate he got, our boy remembers that Chloe had been hospitalized with a fever after the dungeon raid. He decides he should visit her when he has time. Just then, the instructor enters the classroom, alongside Siegfried. He tells the students to return to their seats. Kong wonders why the Sword Emperor guy is suddenly showing up, but right at that moment his phone buzzes. It's a message from an unknown number. What are you doing? Kang assumes it's just a wrong number, but the next message says, look in front of you. As our boy lifts his head, he's shocked to see Saki walking into the classroom, standing next to Siegfried. Instructor Lee announces that Saki has officially been assigned to their class and tells everyone to get along with her. The moment the guys in class see her, they all go crazy and asking her random questions, but she ignores all those gooners and starts walking toward Kang. Our boy can only hope she doesn't actually come to him, because among the top students, she's ranked first in academics. And on top of that, she's the daughter of one of the 7 heroes, who also happens to be the Prime Minister of Japan, which means she's basically Japan's princess. As Kang's thinking, if she comes here, it'll be 200% pain in the ass. She walks right past the gooners, looks at Kang, and jumps into the seat next to him, asking if she can sit there. The scene then shifts to a dungeon, where an investigator is questioning a guard about the missing staff member. The guard tells him that the missing man went into the dungeon to check on the cadets and never came back. The investigator asks if there was anything unusual, and the guard says the guy didn't look too well. The investigator wraps up the questioning for now. Outside, while taking a break with his partner, the investigator says there's no way a body could just disappear like that, especially because when they entered the gate, they found a pile of buffalo corpses, and there's no way the cadets could have done that alone. Yet somehow, they came out safely, while a trained staff member went missing. Just as he's thinking how crazy this whole thing is, his partner suddenly collapses to the ground. He turns around and sees the assistant professor charging at him. Before he can react, she rips his head off. It's revealed that she's half human, half demon, a villain who's been pulling the strings all along.